Millions of dollars are being allocated by corporate boards right now to upskill their workforce. The mandate from the C-suite is clear: train the organization on AI. Initially, it looks like money well spent. Employees emerge from these workshops engaged. They are testing prompts, sharing tips, and navigating the new interfaces with confidence. The energy is real. But this graph maps out a glaring disconnect being tracked by the Josh Bersin Company. A $400 billion corporate training market is being aggressively disrupted by AI, while actual operational returns remain completely flat. To understand why this is happening, we have to look at the enterprise data from a 2026 DataCamp survey. Right now, 82% of organizations are actively paying to provide their workforce with AI training. Yet despite that massive financial outlay, 59% of those same organizations report a persistent, unyielding AI skills gap. The capability simply does not materialize. A 2026 EY survey maps the exact bottleneck. While 88% of organizations have employees actively using AI in the workplace, only 28% have managed to use the technology to transform how their operations actually function. This drop-off is not a failure of employee enthusiasm. It suggests that while the training is teaching people how to navigate the software, it is failing to teach them how to solve the business problems that actually matter. The corporate training market is committing a category error. They are teaching people how to use AI while completely failing to teach them what to use it for. Teaching the how covers the mechanics. It means walking users through an interface, practicing basic prompt engineering, and explaining a model's technical limitations. It is necessary knowledge, but it stops short. General Assembly CEO Daniele Grassi pointed out the direct result of stopping there. You end up with senior executives using these powerful models for the exact same tasks as interns, drafting emails and summarizing documents. Answering what for demands an entirely different capability. It requires mapping specific organizational workflows to locate the exact friction points where the technology will yield the highest return on investment. It means anticipating the inevitable resistance of change management, auditing internal data requirements, and establishing governance structures that keep a deployment viable long after the initial rollout. This exposes the divide between the instructors selling these courses. Credential theorists can deliver a slick curriculum on prompting, but navigating a true production deployment requires an implementer who has survived one. Comfort does not equal capability. Producing familiarity without providing a concrete map to operational value is a misallocation of corporate capital. The failure of theoretical training becomes vividly visible the exact moment an employee faces their first unscripted operational problem. They try to apply their new prompting skills to a real task, only to hit a wall. The tool doesn't match the specific workflow, the integration isn't supported, or the internal data quality is too poor for the model to process. The immediate reaction is deep operational frustration. The excitement from the workshop evaporates, and the official, sanctioned tool is abandoned. But the desire to solve the problem remains. This friction produces an immediate, dangerous byproduct: shadow AI. Lacking clear guidance on what to use the official systems for, employees quietly seek their own solutions. They start routing sensitive corporate data into unvetted, consumer-grade models to bypass the bottleneck. The organization suddenly loses all visibility and governance. This unmonitored data flow creates severe, compounding legal and regulatory exposures, threatening the company's intellectual property. Shadow AI is not a malicious act by the workforce. It is a predictable side effect of providing a powerful capability without establishing the specific operational rails required to use it safely. While employees resort to shadow systems, leadership faces a different paralysis. They find themselves entirely unable to commit to deployment. They enter pilot purgatory, a systemic condition where the enterprise manages dozens of isolated experimental AI projects that never scale into full production. According to McKinsey, only 1% of corporate leaders classify their AI deployments as mature. The remaining 99% are stuck endlessly testing. If an organization cannot definitively answer what they should use AI for, they cannot migrate a pilot into a live system. This ties directly back to the training market. Trainers taught the workforce how to experiment, but they left leadership without the framework required to commit. The financial drain of maintaining this permanent state of exploration is massive. Corporate resources are consumed by proofs of concept that yield zero operational leverage. An enterprise unable to define its high-value use cases is mathematically doomed to perpetual exploration. The AI initiative becomes a permanent cost center rather than a tool that generates measurable operational value. Beyond organizational indecision, there is a technical blind spot shared by almost all credentialed training providers. That blind spot is data readiness. It is the single most consequential factor dictating whether an AI initiative will actually survive in a production environment. Industry failure metrics show a harsh reality. Gartner predicts 60% of unsupported AI projects will be abandoned, while Rand research shows 80% delivers zero business value. In the absence of clean, governed data pipelines, the most advanced models become completely useless. Conducting a rigorous data readiness assessment in a siloed, legacy corporate environment requires navigating complex architectures and fragmented databases to ensure the model has reliable inputs. Standard training programs skip this foundational step because the trainers themselves have never had to conduct one inside a complex enterprise. We can see the inverse of this in a 2025 MIT review of corporate AI implementations. They found an elite tier, just 5% of integrated pilots, that successfully generated millions of dollars in measurable value. The defining difference for that 5% was operational sequence. They solved execution and data architecture requirements before they ever focused on the application layer. Initiating prompt engineering workshops without first conducting an honest assessment of internal data readiness guarantees a catastrophic collision with operational reality. When we look at the data, the skills gap, the shadow systems, the pilot purgatory, and the data failures, the challenge for the modern executive completely changes shape. This chart illustrates the true anatomy of a successful AI rollout, according to Boston Consulting Group data. They found 70% of AI success has nothing to do with algorithms or infrastructure. That critical 70% relies entirely on people, process, and change management. The organizations capturing real value in the AI race are not the ones purchasing the most sophisticated technical training. They are the ones securing comprehensive operational alignment. Organizational judgment and execution capability will always dictate the outcome over pure technical familiarity. For corporate boards and C-suite executives currently evaluating AI training proposals, the mandate is direct. You must discard standard evaluation criteria. Do not base your decision on university logos or the page count of a prompt engineering syllabus. Instead, demand proof of application. Ask the provider to name a specific enterprise they supported and force them to explain how they helped that organization identify a genuine operational problem before a single training session began. Second, interrogate their exact methodology for migrating a promising pilot through data governance and into a live, sustainable production environment. The vendor equipped to help your organization is an experienced implementer who teaches from the scars of failed production deployments, rather than a theorist reading from a polished slide deck. There is a specific order of operations that determines whether these investments survive. You must teach the technology strictly in service of the business problem, rather than searching for a problem that fits the technology. Do not commission another workshop until the provider can clearly answer 3 questions. What have you actually built? Where did it break? And how will those production scars protect our investment?